Captain Arthur Phillip had been commissioned by the British government of the day to organise, supply and command a fleet to bring 1,400 people to fulfil his charge, to establish a new British colony on the other side of the world. Phillip was to be the governor of the settlement, which was made up of convicted criminals, their marine minders, and overseeing naval officers, with some family members. Its success is in no small measure due to the outstanding skills and expertise of Phillip, his fellow officers and the crews assigned to the task. Even though the entire fleet, having travelled the last leg across the Indian Ocean in two separate flotillas, had assembled by January 20, 1788, in Botany Bay. It was its location to the more suitable Port Jackson on January 26 that has been commemorated right from the outset. In the early years of settlement, due acknowledgement was given annually to this arrival date. Diaries and letters of the time referred to officers drinking to the settlement's health and success and convicts being given a rest from work on the day. Celebrations of various kinds have probably taken place every year since then, but understandably the focus would have been in New South Wales, where settlement began and where the majority of those who came on the first fleet and stayed on had probably made their homes. Their descendants, who probably now number over 1 million, are now to be found all over the country and in many other parts of the world. Several names of the day included early on Foundation Day and Anniversary Day, among others, and it wasn't until 1818, 30 years and one generation after settlement began, that the name Australia Day was first used officially. Fast forward to the present, and we have the Aboriginal and social justice warrior demographic groups whinging and virtual signaling by protesting in front of Flinders Street Station in Melbourne, Australia. Incontrovertibly, this is nothing new, as this is a normal thing to occur in Australia's social justice warrior capital, where far leftist neo-Marxists have nothing else better to do other than blowing their whistles, trying to accomplish something revolutionary, but in reality, this is just creating a ruckus on the streets and to disrupt the peace of other people who just want to enjoy a celebratory day in regards to how great Australia is as a country that and that people from various backgrounds can be united and be thankful that we live in such a beautiful place. As some of you may already know, a bloke who was holding an Australian flag and wearing an Australian flag tank top, who happens to be standing in front of Flinders Street Station, was violently attacked by the protesters, all just because he had a different belief to theirs. Now, is this a noble thing to do? Well, of course not. These protesters are moved by their emotions, which automatically blocks out civil discourse among them, and wanting to change the date of Australia Day or even eliminating it will not change the past. It is today's generation that needs to change the course for future generations. Of course, past colonialism has not all been that good for a number of Australian Aborigines. The loss of their traditional cultures and languages happens when people are subjugated by the conquerors or colonizers, but this has happened around the world. For instance, the Aboriginal peoples of Japan, the Ainu, have been subjugated by the modern Japanese whose ancestors invaded Japan and settled in the lands that were inhabited by the Ainu people. Another example can be how the Anglo-Saxon Germanic tribes invaded Britain and took over the lands of the Cornish, Welsh, Scottish, and Irish Celtic tribes. Another to mention is how the Austronesians settled in the Philippine archipelago, and took over the lands of the Aita Negrito peoples. The point to all this is that the Australian Aborigines are not the only ones whose ancestors were treated like dirt. Many other people's ancestors have been treated like dirt. Let's celebrate what Australia has to offer for those who happen to live in this great country. Thanks for listening. Give this clip a thumbs up, like, and subscribe to my channel. Mabuhay!